So the first tip to elevate your daily style: change your default style settings. Now, for those of you guys in the IT world, you know that a default is a pre-designed value when a value or setting is not specified by the program user. Default settings for human beings are a very powerful influence on the decision we make. So my question, if you want to up your daily style, what is your style default right now? Well, first up, a lot of guys can't even answer this question because they haven't thought about it. And if you have thought about it, and even if you adjusted it a decade ago, here's the thing, you haven't really changed anything for 10 years. Seriously, you're in your mid-30s wearing the same clothing you bought in your mid-20s. Now, for most guys, their default style settings are going to be the clothing that's easy for you to grab right out of your closet. T-shirts, jeans, running shoes, a baseball cap, and who knows, that outfit choice, it may be your style. You really have thought about this, but I have a feeling a lot of you guys have dreams, you have ambitions, you have work that honestly, there's a bit of disconnect between the way you present yourself by default versus how you see yourself and where you want to be. I'll give you an example. For me personally, I don't wear t-shirts. Yes, I have athletic shirts that I wear when I go to the gym, but pretty much even all my casual shirts have a collar. Straight up, my default shirt is a performance polo. I find that it works pretty much in any situation that I find myself in as a busy dad. I have dark colored, heavier jeans I wear during the winter, but during most of the summer and spring and fall, I've got performance pants. Shoes, I just talked about this in another video. I really lean towards loafers, especially during the summer, but when I'm wearing the jeans and the polos, during the winter, when I'm layering up, then I'll wear just slip-on boots like Chelsea's. I don't normally wear a hat, but if I'm gonna be outside all day, I have a couple Panamas I can rotate through and a performance trilby, which is a nice looking hat, especially when I'm traveling. Now, again, this is my default. It works for me in my work situation. I can walk in here, film a video. I can just simply throw a sports jacket over that performance polo, boom, get the job done. What's going to work for you? Only you can define that. You got to look at your job requirements. You got to look at your personal wants, your needs. What kind of style do you want to bring in? What message do you want to send? But to really make it a default, it needs to be a no-brainer. When you wake up, get dressed in the morning, the items that I just talked about for me are very easy to find. I've always got plenty of those performance polos, plenty of those performance pants. Anything I need to be able to bring that outfit together, I can do it. So to level up your default style settings, you just need two things. You need to define exactly what image, what presentation do you want to send, and then you need to purchase the basic items for at least one outfit. Again, you keep it simple, you get interchangeable. All of a sudden you got 3 shirts, 2 pairs of trousers, that's 6 outfits, maybe 4 pairs of trousers, 8 shirts. They're all very similar. All of a sudden, boom, what do you have right there? 32 different outfits. That's what I love about the interchangeable wardrobe. Keep it simple, but make sure that you start with one outfit and then start upgrading everything else. On a side note here, if you're having trouble letting go of clothing, you're like, I don't know about this. Simply put the clothing in a box, put a date on it, and put it at the back of your closet. If you really say, hey, this isn't for me after a month, if you need to get to that clothing, you simply open up the box. But when you find you haven't opened that box for a year, you can safely donate the items. And FYI, a lot of the tips I'm going to talk about in this video have nothing to do with going out and buying new clothing. It's going to be about taking your existing wardrobe and improving it with, sharpening a little bit of the stuff up here. So really quick, gents, how would you describe this flower? Most of us would say it's red. Maybe we talk about some of the other colors there. Maybe we would actually count and describe the shape and the number of petals. But it's safe to say for most of us, it would be a very rudimentary description. But what if you were a botanist? What if you had studied horticulture? What if you were a florist? Well, it's safe to say if you knew more about the subject matter, you could probably describe it in more detail. The same thing applies to cars, right? This is a red, fast-looking car. Now, I know some of you guys are cringing because you're like, Antonio, that's not just a car. That is a Ferrari. Not just any Ferrari. That's a 250 GTO. Again, we're all looking at the same thing, but people with a deeper understanding have a deeper appreciation, and they can describe it and they can talk about it in a lot more detail. The same thing, gentlemen, applies to style. If I start dropping the words bespoke, silhouette, tailored, lapel, cufflinks, darts, loafers, blazers, herringbone, paisley, seersucker, wingtips, cardigans, selvage denim, houndstooth, argyle, tweed, monk strap. Now, some of you guys knew every single one of those terms. And if you did, let me know in the comments and I'll send you a challenge coin. And by the way, if you didn't know all those terms, no shame in that. 15 years ago, I didn't know jack about style, but I started reading books. I started delving into the information, the knowledge base that was out there at the time, because I realized if I was going to succeed in this industry, I needed to understand the terminology so that I could better communicate with not only you all, the audience, but when I initially started my journey, I owned a custom clothier to be able to talk to people about style style, I had to have a style lexicon. Now, how to actually improve your vocabulary. We've taken a great step by actually watching my channel. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. But seriously, guys, there are tons of other great style channels out there. You got my friend Raphael over at the Gentleman's Gazette. You've got Kirby Allison over at kirbyallison.com. My good friend and business partner, Aaron Marino, over at Alpha M. You've got stand-up guys like Alex Costa, who also have great information on men's hair. You want to mix in a bit of business? Check out Jose Zuniga. If you're a smaller guy, check out Brock over at The Modest Man. If you're in the city, check out my friend Vladimir Ritchie. He's putting together some great stuff, especially on shoes. If you want someone that's going to tell you how it is, straight up, check out Jeff over at The Style OG. Salute. You want more of a lookbook type style? Check out Marcel Flores over at 1 Dapper Street. And for great cinematography and ideas, check out Tim DeSaint. Guy, he's probably making some of the best videos on men's style out there. And of course, I better not forget Hugo and Sonia over at Paris and Gentlemen. I got a little bit of a story with this, so if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll share it with you. But those two right there also have a number of books. And speaking of books, of course, we can't leave out Alan Flusser and his magnum opus, Dressing the Man, Mastering the Art of Permanent Fashion. I'd have to say that book, along with Gentlemen, The Ultimate Companion to the Elegant Man by Bernhard Rotzel. Those two books were my start, what got me into menswear, and I love them both. Gents, if you pick up any of these tomes, all of a sudden you're going to have more than enough information to get you started. Now, the next step to leveling up your daily wear, the outfits you put together every single day, is to understand proportions. Now, over the years, I've talked about body types, and I will link to my body type video down in the description of today's video. But I do want to say that the big thing with understanding your body type is how to wear proportions that work with that body type. And let me be clear, I'm all about body positivity. If you are a thin guy, if you're a little bit of a bigger guy, and you've been working for years, but just simply you can't lose that weight because it's the way you're built, I get it. You want to wear clothing, though, that is going to accentuate your strengths, not accentuate your weaknesses. And by weaknesses, let's look at the proportion. So if you're 5'4", in general, your head in proportion to your body is going to be a little bit larger than for a man that's 6'4". And what this can do is it makes you look cute. It makes you look childish. That's not what we're going for. We want to make sure you're wearing clothing that helps to offset the larger proportions that we see, in this case with your head. If you're a really skinny guy, understanding your body type and the type of patterns and cuts that are going to work for you means that we want to add a little bit of weight to you. We don't want you to wear clothing that is going to make you look even skinnier. The same thing with big guys. If you're a little bit bigger around the waist, we want you to look large and in charge, not fat and sloppy, and not draw attention to that midsection area by going for a really bright colored belt. Instead, let's go for more of a monochromatic look that allows the eyes to go up and down. We'll spend a little bit more time looking at your shoes, looking at the accessories you got on the, the ends of your arms and these type of points. That's where we want to draw them up and actually draw people's attention up to your face, up to your eyes, because that's where we want them to stay focused. Now, throughout human history, what type of proportions are attractive? That has actually changed. But one thing I do know is it's the norms of a society which, for the most part, people perceive as being attractive. Outside of that norm, and there are extreme versions that could be attractive, people that spend a lot of time on their body if you've got a very muscular build, but even then it can come off as cartoonish. Now, in general, what we're looking to do with clothing is to build up your weaker areas and to strengthen and to show off the areas that you've put the work into. Because if you've gone to the gym, why in the world would you wear a suit that is cut square, that doesn't bring in and show that you've got this masculine cut silhouette, something that would have natural cut right here on the shoulders. You don't need a whole bunch of padding, which that's kind of more 1980s anyway, but you want to be able to wear a jacket that actually is going to be a little bit more trim around the torso so that you can show off your drop, which is the distance or basically the difference between your waist area and the chest. We want to be able to show that V because it's a very masculine look. That being said, if you're a bigger guy, we do want to build up the shoulders a bit. It's not going to make you look thin, but that V right here cut in with the shoulders right there, that's going to make you look a little bit more square, which is a much better look than a round circle. And even for the tall, skinnier guys, yeah, a crew neck t-shirt looks okay, but bring in a V-neck t-shirt, again, not cut too much of a V, all of a sudden it does draw a little bit more attention to the chest. A dark color with those dark trousers, again, allow the eyes to go up and down, although you could change it up with going with some bright colors. You could even wear that shirt untucked, especially if you've got a really short torso, you've got longer legs. Oftentimes we see this on taller guys, so that they look better with shirts untucked. Again, not always, there are exceptions. What we're trying to hit on here is you understanding how proportions play into this. There's There's a whole mathematics, a whole science to proportions. Do the research. Tons of information out there, from the rule of thirds, if anyone understands photography, from being able to understand the golden circle. You bring this stuff into your clothing, all of a sudden you're able to put together outfits, you're able to put together looks that really just work for your build, your body type, and your overall, your body. Now at this point, gents, I've dropped a lot of knowledge. Yes, I don't have a Ferrari behind me, but I will tell you that, guys, if knowledge was power, librarians would rule the world. Come on. I mean, they don't, because you got to take action on the information. You got to know exactly what information and then what exactly to take action on. And the reality is, if you've watched 10, 20, 30 YouTube videos on style, improving yourself, have you actually become better? Some of you guys, great. But I think a lot of us, we need a bit of motivation. We need, accountability. We need to know exactly what actions to take in the order to take them so that we're efficient, we're effective. Guys, that is my style system. If you haven't seen this before, this is my go-to course in which we focus in on accountability. We focus in on action. Yes, information is great, but I focus in on the 4%, that 20% of the 20% that's going to yield you that big return. We help you take that action step by step in the order that you need to take it so that you don't waste time. And within 30 days, you're walking into a room and you are the best dressed man. Not only that, you've got the confidence, you've got the knowledge, you've got it all put together because you've put in the reps, you've put in the practice, and you wear this clothing with confidence and just simply knowing that you are the man. So gents, if you're tired of being invisible, if you want to know for sure how to step up your style, check out the style system. I'm linking to it down in the description of today's video. So now let's take a step back to practicality, how to actually improve your day-to-day style. We've been talking a lot about information, but I want you to go ahead and take everything out of your closet. Yes, make your bed, make sure it's clean, lay everything out. Let's see all of your shirts, all of your trousers, all your shorts, all your socks, everything. What you want to do is create 3 piles. You have your love, you have your like, and you have your lose pile. So obviously everything that goes in the lose pile, you're going to go ahead and put into the donation box. Again, if you don't feel like getting rid of it, you're a little bit nervous about it, simply seal it up and put it at the back of your closet. Next up, you've got your love and your likes. Now the love items should be pretty easy. And there's probably not going to be a whole lot in there. These are items that fit you well. Every time you wear it, you get compliments. These are the items that you just simply love putting on. They make you feel like $1,000,000. Now the goal here is to eventually have a closet full of items that you love so that everything you're putting on, whether it's your socks, your underwear, your trousers, yeah, they don't get a lot of attention, but you know what? You love the fit, you love the feel, you just love putting these items on. But for most people, that's a ways out. Let's look at what you have in the like. So is there any way for you to take anything in the like and actually get it upgraded? So you've got these shirts that you like, but they're way too large. Okay, so we used the word darting a little bit earlier. You're going to take it to a tailor. And because you can speak the language, you're going to explain exactly what you want. I want a couple darts in the back. They're relatively inexpensive. All of a sudden, the shirt is going to look better on you. You've got a little bit, skinnier arms. You're going to get those sleeves adjusted on those short sleeve shirts because all of a sudden they're going to hug you a little bit better. They're just going to look better, and you're going to go from liking to maybe even loving some of these items. Next up, let's look at how all these items work together and where are you dangerously low. Most likely you do have maybe trousers. You got 2 pairs of jeans that you go to. And one of them dress up jeans. The other one are really your tear up casual jeans. You've only got 1 pair of good looking jeans. So you rarely ever wear them because you want to keep them looking nice. How about you actually spend a little bit of money, get 2 more pairs, maybe slightly different colors, maybe go with the same thing, but you can start actually rotating that into your wardrobe and you don't feel bad because you're not wearing it you actually are wearing the same style every day, but it already works with everything in your wardrobe. Point being is you identify the weak areas where you can bring in more pieces. It could be shirts. It could be you've got no casual jackets. You don't have a fatigue jacket. You don't have a denim jacket. You have no sports jackets. The point is, once you've identified where this weakness is, all of a sudden you can direct resources to this key area. And I'm not saying you got to go out there and even spend money. You could talk to that uncle that's got the same build as you and say, hey man, you got anything left over? I had a great friend whose father, his closet, he used to raid all the time. The guy was, a fashionista in the 1970s, and he loved bringing back these looks, and it looked great. Seriously, Rob could rock these outfits, and he had no problem with the ladies because the guy looked good. He always had a great smile, and he just felt good, and he had the same profile as his dad, so he was able to pull off all this clothing, and it didn't cost him anything. Gents, going into thrift stores, secondhand stores, St. Vincent de Paul, the Salvation Army, Goodwill. There is no shame in shopping in these places. In fact, I think there's a huge benefit because you're really free from box stores and the fashions that are being pushed on you. In addition, a lot of that vintage clothing is of higher quality build, so you're actually getting a steal. And believe it or not, you can find some items that have been worn once. They're like 30 years, 40 years old. They're made well, and they weren't even taken out of the packaging. And seriously, gents, you can have fun with this. Make it a game. How much can you get for $1 or less, for $10 or less? You can find these items, go out there again. I've got tons of clothing in my office here, and I've been working to get rid of it. Sorry, I know a lot of you guys reach out to me occasionally when someone like their house burns down, and if they're the same size as me, I have sent out clothing. Been proud and happy to do that. But point being is, are you asking people? Because there are tons of people that are sitting on tons of clothing they just want someone to come in and get rid of. Now, I know some of you guys are going to have tons of holes in your closet. You're like, Antonio, what do I buy first? So with that in mind, gents, let me introduce you to 3 words I talk about in my style system: Cornerstone clothing, Keystone clothing, and capstone clothing. Now, for anyone familiar with architecture or construction, you know I stole those terms because a cornerstone, by definition, is the first stone that you set down in the construction of a masonry foundation. It is the foundation piece that all other things reference to. It literally determines the position, the foundation of the entire structure. So cornerstone clothing is going to be your uniform. This is going to be the clothing you have to have either for your profession or for your own personal needs when you go out day to day. For many men still, in today's modern world, a cornerstone piece of clothing is going to be the suit. For other people, it's going to be a casual pair of Chelseas with dark colored jeans. Now, for most people, they have to have these items in their wardrobe, but there's a good chance that you could upgrade this. Maybe you bought that suit a decade ago, or the material is just poor quality. Or those jeans, you want to upgrade them to a higher quality type of denim. Those shoes, you want to change them out, or maybe bring in an additional pair. Next up, we've got keystone clothing. Now, a keystone in architecture is the wedge-shaped stone piece at the apex of a masonry arch. This piece locks all the other stones in place. So this is going to be very similar to the cornerstone. For the guy that has the suit, this is going to be his casual clothing. Like I talked about, maybe jeans, it's going to be polo shirts, maybe a number of dark colored button downs. For a lot of guys, this is going to be their day-to-day shoe, the one that they slip on. It could be a loafer, it could be a pair of brogues, it could just be a pair of running shoes that they've been defaulting to. The reality is your keystone pieces are going to be the majority of your core wardrobe. These are the essential pieces that you wear day in, day out, week over week. If you're missing anything here or you need to upgrade here, this would be the next place I would look. Next up, let's talk about capstone pieces. Now, capstone, these are the final stones, often flat ones, used to cover the top of a building or a wall. Basically, these are the culminating pieces. You can do without them, but they really do complete the look. So an example of a capstone piece is going to be a nice watch. It's a really nice thing to have, and when you buy one, it could be an heirloom piece that you'll have for the rest of your life. But can you live without it? The answer is yes. So at this point, gents, you've identified what is missing in your wardrobe. You've gone out there, you've purchased, you've located, you picked up at thrift stores. You have now filled the gaps. Now you need to start wearing the items. Now, this goes without saying, but anything that you've purchased, make sure it works in an existing outfit. That's going to be interchangeable. You don't want to have a shirt that goes with nothing that you're going to have to go out and buy another pair of trousers, a pair of shoes for. That is something that's not interchangeable and can be very expensive. I'm not saying you can't wear fashion pieces like that. What we're looking for here are items that are already going to work with your existing outfits. That way you can then take these new items and you can create some signature looks. Now, these signature go-to looks are combination of individual items that you've crafted into an outfit. The point is, with a signature go-to look, you've actually thought it through and you like the message that's being sent and you know how to piece those items together very quickly, and that's what we want. Now, a lot of guys resist changing their wardrobe, let alone upgrading their wardrobe, because they're like, oh, come on, dress clothing, it's going to be uncomfortable. Going from a t-shirt to a performance polo, oh, that's going to be, I can't do that. The thing is, it's not uncomfortable. It's just unfamiliar. You're not used to it. Similar to going for a run. If you haven't been running for a while, the first time you're going to be a bit winded. You're going to have to start walking in the middle of that run. But after you've gone out for a few runs, after you've gone to the gym a few times, you start to know where everything's at. You don't have to ask where the bathroom's at. You don't need to, help with your code. You know what the machines are for, or eventually you start to learn one machine at a time. You become more familiar and therefore you become more comfortable and you start to see the benefits of this habit change. And that, gentlemen, is what makes elevating your daily style such a powerful thing, because it's a daily application. Daily, you're now sending a message to the world. This is who I am. This is what I stand for, without having to say a word. you dress the part of the man you know yourself to be. And gents, that's when the magic starts to happen, when opportunities start coming your way that previously would not. All right, gents, remember, it's more than just passively watching these videos. You got to take action. If you need help with that, check out our style system. I'm linking to it down in the description of today's video. And what video to watch next? Guys, I got you covered right here. The only rules a man needs to know in 2023, actually, they're timeless. And it works well with this video. I think you'll like it. Boom, right here. Check it out. Solid video. Oh, yeah.